The aim of this lecture is to answer the following key question. How digital transformation is impacting the new collection development process? After this lecture, you will be able to know which are the main phases of the process potentially impacted by digital technologies. Digital transformation is pervasive in existing businesses. Fashion and luxury industries are not exempt by this big challenge. A study conducted by McKinsey in 2018 through the involvement of key managers illustrates that executives identify technology-related issues as their top 4 choices. Moreover, asked about top 3 words to describe the business, the most emerging ones are changing, digital, and fast. 3 concepts directly or indirectly related to the digital transformation. Major challenges are actually presented at the customer side, but this shift necessarily entails also an internal change at the process level. The new collection development process is indeed impacted, especially because the support of digital tools might help companies in squeezing their time to market or in reducing the overall cost of the process. First of all, digital technologies could support extensively the design phase through the adoption of quite well-established technologies such as computer-aided design, CAD, or product lifecycle management, PLM. CAD is a computer technology aimed at both designing a product and documenting the overall design process. PLM, instead, is the process of managing the entire life cycle of a product from inception through engineering, design and manufacture to service and disposal of manufactured products for companies and their extended enterprise. These tools allow to have a support in the design of the products at the digital way, to simplify the creation of variants of products, to make easier and faster the modification of a product and jointly work among different actors. These features are particularly important, especially when creative teams are diffuse and not all located in the same plant, as often happens in current global supply chains. These tools are often used also to verify the adoption of different materials, to compare performances of different suppliers, to directly monitor the overall cost of the products in comparison to a target price and to a desired level of marginality. The tools, thereby, are not simply used to digitalize the existing process, but also as an innovative way to support the decision-making process and to make an effective alignment easier between choices taken at the collection development process and those taken in the other areas of the company or with the overall company goals. Digital technologies are also particularly relevant for prototyping. Especially for fashion products, the creation of prototypes is necessary to have a visual representation of how the final product will look like. Loops in the new collection development process are quite frequent, and so it is also possible to have more than one prototype per each single product. In the past, all of these prototypes were necessarily physical, with consequently huge costs and long lead times. Through virtual prototyping, it is feasible to perform as many prototypes as the stylists need just at the virtual way, to test variants, to see how the textile could wear on the future customers. Just at the end of the process, and perhaps just for luxury products particularly critical, it is possible to have a physical prototype as well. Strongly discussed nowadays is also the potential contribution of 3D printing to new collection development process. To be affordable, 3D printing should be adopted for items with high marginality and high level of customization. Some luxury components have exactly these features, and so 3D printing could be adopted in a twofold way. Either again at the prototyping level, to actually see how the accessories or the components will look like before a wider production is launched, or for small-scale components if oriented to customization of the product. 3D printing is generally adopted by the focal company to avoid the involvement of suppliers for the production of small parts. There are some examples in the shoe industry. Future development of this technology might push the customization of accessories and components directly into the store, streamline the process upstream, and postponing the customization phase. Digital technologies also support sharing information among different actors of the new collection development process. As discussed in the previous lecture, the collection development process is realized through a huge involvement of internal actors, such as stylists, pattern makers, merchandisers, salespeople, supply chain people, etc., but also external actors. Just to mention a few, companies are more and more used to involve external stylists, freelance designers, suppliers to bring innovative ideas. Digital platforms need to be adopted to share documents, to streamline communication, and to assure perfect alignment along the overall network and the overall supply chain. This is not perhaps the most advanced adoption of technologies, but still very straightforward. Finally, do not forget, digital technologies are also fundamental in terms of supply chain traceability and visibility, especially if the purpose is the development of products with a sustainable orientation. Companies are fully aware of the importance to have a perfect control of the products along all the tiers of the supply chain, whether they want to control the sustainable profile of products realized. Constant monitoring of suppliers and of the products is obviously realized, but the challenge is the possibility to transfer this valuable information to all the actors involved. Thanks to the new innovative technologies such as Internet of Things, blockchain technology, or radio frequency identification technologies, it is nowadays possible to monitor all the network and to guarantee a full visibility to all the actors involved. In conclusion, during this lecture you have understood that the collection development process is potentially strongly impacted by the role of digital transformation. Although fashion and luxury companies are sometimes still quite traditional in the development of the process and a little bit reluctant to abandon the traditional methodologies, such as paper-based processes or physical prototypes, digital technologies could strongly simplify the management of the process, with a twofold goal to reduce the time to market as well as the cost of the overall process.